Yo, welcome back, Spencer.
Spencer, how are you, buddy?
Hello again.
Hello again. Yeah, man, what's going on in your world? I mean, you were in New York recently recording with Believe. Like, what's going up? What's going on?
Yeah, we have some cool stuff for that. I think that will be I think that will be pretty exciting. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of I came up to New York for this last week. So that was this last week, but um other than that, it's been like a ton of product work. And just kind of like grinding that out. Like I mentioned, we're kind of releasing a V2 soon. Been kind of yes, I went to New York, then focusing on a product. Actually tomorrow, going to record a video. There's a video guy, record a new launch video. But
I like it.
it's honestly the past month. I mean, it's been talking to users, building the product, and then just this last week came up to New York as well.
Yeah, Orgo's like been one of my favorite projects. I think after our conversation, I just realized the magnitude of what's being
Yeah.
created. And I don't know, tell me if I'm like in La La Land or like when you say you're creating a launch video, are you like, is this a big coordinated launch with Believe in terms of like, hey, this is the next big thing in AI? Like what are we talking about? Is this just a product upgrade that we're really proud of, but or is this like a big thing?
Um, Yeah, it's so the with Believe that's going to be it's two different things. So I'm actually doing my own launch video and then doing some stuff with Believe as well. Um, yeah, so for the launch, I mean, so this kind of next version that we've been kind of spending a ton of time working on. It's um, yeah, I would say it's a bit more than just kind of like some new features and stuff. It's kind of I guess the next major product iteration and has some major new features that we're kind of been working on for the past little bit over a month. So that's yeah. So yeah, definitely. Going to be a big difference from the last version. Um, yeah, and in terms of like, I mean, probably not going to be a super hypey launch video. I would say more, most something on Twitter. I don't know if you've ever seen the like Anthropic, I guess. I don't want to say launch videos, but like when Anthropic releases new stuff, like kind of slightly chill, like
Give
but
me a
more
look
just to
at.
show kind of like what direction we're heading and like what's the kind of like new version, like what it's gonna have.
Yeah, they have like the animated one. I think I know what you're talking about, and just in terms of like sitting down on their couch or whatever in their
Yeah,
office and
exactly,
their
exactly.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Like maybe talk to us like what that timing is around this rollout. Like are we talking about in the next weeks or is this kind of something for the end of the year? Like how you think about timing around V2?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're getting together, recording a video tomorrow. Yeah, this is very soon. I want to say, I mean, it's gonna be ready by the probably end of next week. We might wait till kind of like Monday to kind of to figure out the exact, maybe the third or fourth. One of the we have to figure out the exact date to publish it, but
Yeah.
no, it's gonna like it's very soon. It'll be kind of ready, and we actually spend a lot of time on the designs. The designs are done, and implementation. A lot of the development work is getting close to be done. Yeah, we're like 80-90% there, and it's gonna be ready by kind of next week. So
Amazing. And I
yeah.
also want to screen share because last time I dove into the product halfway through our stream and I was like blown away. So
Mhm.
maybe just talk to the users, like give us the, all right, I launch on Believe, like we'll do a little recap and then we'll talk about V2. So launch on Believe or Ben DM me saying, hey, launch on Believe, built V1, which was, computers for agents. Maybe talk a bit about that. And then let's get into what V2 is.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I mean, when I launched on Believe, it was actually like very much, I guess, an MVP. It's yeah. I mean the product. Um, yeah, when I first launched the product, I mean, I guess it worked to the kind of, you know, basic functional degree. Like, you launch these computers, and I mean, I guess the kind of, you know, I mean, the purpose of the product is, you know, so these computer using agents are starting to pop up, and, you know, so you can get like GPT to control a computer. And so the first version was just, you know, a computer that you could, to a simple degree, like, spin up, and then it would be compatible with these agents. So I mean, that was the kind of very first version, and we're starting with like just getting something developers can play around with, and like some of the first things in this new version is more around like getting teams to work on it, and like heading more in the direction of like, we just started this kind of simple thing to play around with, and like actually I think it's forming into a proper product as well. Like, teams can kind of collaborate and build these agents together, and kind of it's kind of more clear in that direction as well. It's kind of like generally where we're headed.
Got it. So when you say allowing teams, so the first version of the product, it's like you kind of go into this window, you say in the chat, you prompted like, oh, I want to launch this agent. I'm going to use Claude or whatever model. And then the agent starts like doing things, right? Like it
Yeah,
starts executing things. What you're saying is we're going to allow, and this is where maybe like companies come into play, is, you know, actual, you know, developer teams at these corporations to kind of hack away on a agent that's like their colleague, or dare I say replacement. Like, I don't know, how do you think of collaboration in
yeah,
this context?
yeah. I mean, so there's a few things. So yeah, our first version is you would boot this Linux computer, and it would be very simple. It's very bare bones. It had like minimal RAM, CPU, and like just really basic software. So that's kind of the first version. It's like very lightweight computer. But the kind of direction we're heading is like, okay, first of all, have more resources per each computer, and like more support, more software on the computer. So like you said, companies can run what they need, and they have the agents have access to the software they need, as well. Like the team aspect. I mean, this is something that's, I guess, directly just like embedded into our product. Being able to like have multiple people, like right now you sign up for Orgo, you have a project yourself. Having more people on a project, and sort of more like a Figma style, like a collaboration style, so you can actually have multiple people working on a project on Orgo. One of the first things I kind of figured out was like, people would be working like 2 to 3 people on these like agents.
Yeah.
And it was a very unnatural kind of way that they were doing it, and it would kind of have some awkwardness to it. So yeah, I mean, just sort of like in a product sense, like giving, making it intuitive, and like intuitive to work together on a project, and for people building computer use agents.
Yeah, this is like my kind of trying to stretch my imagination from, you know, Orgo's like, of course, this really amazing concept, but in reality, like, what are people actually building or using these agents for? So I like, do you have
Yeah.
like case studies or like actual like demo videos of not yourself, but people who have built with Orgo and they have created something really fascinating, or done something really fascinating?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's one of the things. I think releasing more videos, and like, yeah, I think we should
You almost
get,
have to see it to believe it, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. So okay, yeah, I will say like a lot of the, or I guess what is available or like built today, the V2 is kind of like addressing, I guess, some of the like, where's the view unlocking at, because like right now it's like a lot of the agents that, you know, people have built is, I mean, so it kind of falls into a few things, but one of them is maybe like, a simple pipeline of like having one agent research online, and another agent like insert data into a spreadsheet, or like custom software. So a lot of it's like simple, like web research and data entry.
So having like multiple agents potentially working together on the computer at the same time.
Yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting thing of like, I kind of realize a lot of the initial interest and what people started to build towards, I guess, is like the multi-agent sort of stuff. It's kind of, I guess like having multiple work together. And then, yeah, a lot in some of the, other use case, I think a lot of the other early use cases is like, like sort of like experiments. I actually like, in the past month, like a lot of the use case what people are using it for has actually been relatively constant of like experiments in terms of like having 5 to 10 user personas of these agents, like either testing a website or SDK. So for example, you could, if you build an SDK, you could maybe tell an agent, like you're a junior software engineer, like try to use this SDK and get started with it and see how well it does it, if that makes sense. So that's one example. So yeah, so there's some of the early ones. Like I think one of the things we kind of realized quickly, and like this is kind of like to help inform the V2, is a lot of companies want to build computer using agents with like custom or niche software. So like that is not readily available like on the computers on Orgo right now. And also like software that needs like a high end, kind of like high end graphics or high end computer. A like just a random example would be like AutoCAD. So kind of like building towards that as well.
Got it. In the AutoCAD example, do you have like there? So the agents are like building on AutoCAD like a design for, I guess, like a 3D printed thing or the ladle machine or whatever, and then it can be sent in an email to whoever's the human that's actually gonna do it on the machine,
Yeah.
or maybe there's a robot that's doing the machine, so it has to like translate, that AutoCAD design to robot instruction. Like I'm just trying to wrap my head around like the
Yeah.
actual like business applications of this where we get to the point where, okay, now we have like end to end, these agents are creating useful things on these computers using software that humans use in a way that humans use it. And then
Yeah.
that translates into something that's created that could be sold. And now that kind of like completes the loop and people are like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And like right now, it's a lot of small, like I guess automation, boring or repetitive tasks, like filling out a form, like doing
yeah.
like clicking through a few screens, something like that. I mean, in the long term, I mean, what I'm kind of the direction that I'm heading. I mean, in terms of like business is like, I think the most interesting ones business wise are kind of like I guess the boring legacy industries. I guess you would say like insurance, healthcare, manufacturing. Like I mean, one of that I'm particularly have been interested in is like um, filling out insurance claims, like as a kind of like a claims agent, being able to like click around the desktop software
Yeah.
for one of these computer agents, and then fill out customer insurance claim information.
Yeah. And feel free to take this conversation any direction that you want, by the way. I'm just trying to
Mhm.
like think through kind of the use cases and maybe who's
Yeah,
using
yeah,
it. You mentioned in one of your tweets that the underlying models are getting really good, the rate of improvement. I know in our last
yeah.
chat, we spent a good amount of time really digging into kind of like how this AI thesis plays out over the next few years.
Mhm.
How it maybe in the last few months has your thinking updated, or do you have new information on just how good the agents itself on Orgo are getting?
Yeah.
And you have a
The
kind of a smile there. I don't know if that's like
no, it's funny
we're
because
doomed kind of smile or what.
no, maybe I think maybe that's just my normal devious
Okay,
smile.
cool. Yeah.
No, I no, it's funny. It's funny because it's actually been a super interesting month for computer use. I think since we last talked, the models. Yeah, I guess one thing I didn't expect is the models have started to get better faster than I expected it to happen. So there's two major model releases in just like the past month. One of them was from Anthropic, and the other one is Gemini, Google. So for so like for the computer use models, I think I mentioned this before, but they're kind of indexed on this OS World benchmark, and that kind of scores how good they are at completing, how good um, these like LLMs are at like completing computer tasks. And yeah, I mean so humans kind of been benchline a baseline at 72%, and I think and that kind of means like able to complete 72% of the computer tasks. And yeah, 1 month ago, the best model, so I think last time we talked, the best model scored like 43%. And now it's up to like 62. There's been like a major jump in the past few weeks. And that was with the Claude, I think it's Claude 4.5 Sonnet. Had like a
Yeah.
huge performance jump for computer use.
And now, like, think about what the labs have internally that they don't even have
Yeah,
released.
yeah,
Like,
right.
so okay, this is like, I get back to AI 2027. The AI 2027 Josh keeps coming out every time I talk to you, but it's if you've not researched or gone and seen that, go Google that and figure out read that paper. Have you read that paper? Last time you said you hadn't yet.
Oh, I haven't bad. I still haven't read. I'll read
Oh
it.
my
I,
goodness,
I, I've glanced over it in the past, but I haven't sat down and read it.
go read it, because the kind of rate of improvement that we're discussing here, it can get a little scary. Anyways, I digress. You can
Yeah,
go read that and let me know what you think about it.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So the models are getting better. Basically, what V2 is the ability to allow multiple people to collab on an agent, and also to have multiple agents working together at the same, let's call it, workstation. Are there any other features in V2 you think are pretty interesting?
Um, yeah. Let me think through, because there's a lot of different new stuff.
Yeah, do you want to show your screen by any chance? Like, is there a demo that you have or a video that you could show us?
Um, yeah, I can show you. Let's see. I can show you one quick thing. I
Yeah,
could show
please.
you one of the quick screens to give you an idea of. Let me see. How do I
Yeah,
show?
if you present, I can remove and pull you on stage, or pull your screen on stage.
Yeah. Let me see. Share screen. Okay. Uh, entire screen. Okay. Got
Okay,
it.
no,
Okay. I can show you, yeah, one of the screens, and
okay,
then
perfect.
the full kind of thing later, like will be
Yeah,
released kind of next week. But I can show you, like, so this is the old kind of, just to give you an idea, like where we're headed in terms of like direction and functionality. This is kind of the old UI. You can sort of spin up these computers, and then like connect it to a computer using agent. I can show you one of the new screens. I mean, this is probably very vague. It's probably isn't super helpful for like one of the. It's probably not super helpful. Not seeing the full picture, but I mean, there's a lot of new things. So I mean, first of all, like we're introducing the concept of like working together and like inviting other people on your team, as well as let's see, added new. So we're increasing, having being able to do more memory limits. We're going to be able to like have GPUs, which is a big thing.
and sorry, what's the significance of memory and then GPUs?
Oh yeah, yeah. So on the actual, on the actual computer itself, you can imagine like your own MacBook. You have what, like, I don't know, or whatever computer, like 16, 32 gigabytes of memory. So it depends on what software the computer is going to run. So what software your agent needs to use
Right.
would matter what kind of memory you would need. And like we're also going to add this is something that's kind of taken some time, but it's ready now. Add Windows support as well. So now right now it's Linux.
Amazing.
Yeah, Windows is ready to go. Invite people on your team. Yeah, more options for resources. I'm trying to think what else. There's a bunch of new stuff that I can't think of. Yeah, I mean, I guess we have a new kind of like playground mode as well.
So if I were to ask, so the GPU significance is people can like bring their own compute. Is that what that enables?
No, there's actually a GPU for the computer itself.
Okay.
So you can imagine like the basic example I have is just like if you play video games, you need a GPU to like render graphics.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's more like what the software you're running is.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things you can do with a GPU, like you could, render videos, like play games, any high end, like run Photoshop. There's like a lot of things you can do with a GPU that you can't without. Um,
Can you go
so
back to
yeah.
the product there, just because
Yeah.
it gives me the infinity screen, and people might want to
Oh,
look
does
at
it?
this
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
much more.
Yeah. This is also very in progress. I mean, I was doing code on this like 30 minutes ago.
No. Hey, man, no worries. We're just trying to unpack what this
Yeah. Yeah.
is. Okay. So obviously, like I think Microsoft and Google have come up with a bunch of
Mhm.
agent tech. They're doing agent to agent stuff. I mean, theoretically, I would assume they're going to allow agents on, Windows PCs at some point. Like, how do you think of Orgo and what you're doing as it relates to the big tech firms having agents on their computers? Do you think like
Yeah.
Orgo's just ahead of them? Do you think Orgo does something different? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, with Orgo, I mean, I guess what the product is you kind of write one line of code and it kind of spins up this like instant computer that the agent can like actually connect to and use. So the agent can kind of click around and have this instantly readily available computer. Um, so I mean, we built this infrastructure to, you can spin up a lot of computers and have it instantly
Right.
able to go. But it's, we're also not just building the computers, but like building it to where you can custom preload any software, building kind of like the developer suite analytics, like you mentioned, like inviting teams, like this kind of like developer platform that kind of makes it
Got
super
it.
easy to
So
go.
less like consumer focus, more
Yeah, yeah,
developer focus.
yeah,
And if I
exactly.
were to think about this correctly, like if let's say Windows does allow agents on their computers and doing something similar to this, it would just be like on
Mhm.
one computer. What you're saying is, you have like four instances across the bottom, which could be individual computers. And maybe from a company standpoint or a developer standpoint, let's say like I'm running my own business or something like that, and obviously I have to understand this tech really well, but like are those four different employees, and like would those employees work together, or like how do I think about what activities and tasks those four separate computers might be doing?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, this is also like an interesting part of like how we're kind of framing it, like built for developers. Is like we kind of give this like toolkit in like these computers, and it's like kind of a developer primitive, and it's kind of up to the developer like how they do it. But I mean, the kind of thing that I'm seeing most is like having 3 to 4 specialized agents like working together. Um, and maybe they can, kind of delegate tasks. So like each one does a narrow task and then potentially like talk to kind of communicate with each other as well.
Right. So within their
Yeah.
instance, there is some communication potential between them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not like locked in a cage and like trying to break out to talk to each other. They
Yeah.
actually can communicate. Okay.
Yeah. I think, and that was kind of the original, like initially it was a little bit caged in. But that's also kind of the direction we're heading of like building a communication interface
Yeah.
between between the computers.
Which feels like a pretty solid moat if you can get
Yeah.
that right, because that might end up becoming the Orgo product in some ways. I feel like that is like a big piece of this puzzle that is still to be figured out. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Really
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, I guess in terms of the business itself as well, it's um, Yeah, I mean, so it's like running multiple clouds, so like running a lot of instances. So like there's kind of this cost savings, and yeah, I mean, like all this infrastructure in terms of like building out kind of the rate limiting, like giving the each computer what the resources and access it needs, like building out this like communication interface. Like it's like all these things. It's a lot of infrastructure and like a lot to build out.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so I want to like move a little on from the product. But I don't want to miss anything. Is there anything here that's like, you think is pretty innovative? I mean, like when I see the style, I think this is all pretty amazing, but like
yeah,
the implications to it, I don't know if I really fully understand it, even though I'm like really passionate about it. If that makes
yeah.
sense. Is there anything on the product side that you think people need to know about that we didn't cover? You said there's a lot cooking, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, so I mean, in the kind of general space is computer using agents and like giving computers to an agent. So I mean, I think the general things that I'm excited about, is like new design, the kind of more resources like GPU, putting a GPU on the computers to kind of like give agents the same level of hardware as like
Yeah.
humans, like as powerful as a normal human computer. And then I think like the templatization that we're building out for the computers, I think I'm very excited about, and I think that's the general direction we're heading as well. Being able to like preload the desktop workspace with any set of software. This is kind of how VM works. You can kind of preload a computer with like all the software applications you need to do your job as a human. So we're kind of doing the same thing for agents. And I think that's the general direction I'm excited about. Like kind of imagining, an agent can kind of log in to the computer, already have its software, like,
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams or Slack, and then the custom software at your company. And it's kind of just ready to go. That's kind of the general direction that,
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the implications of that are crazy. So, okay. So preloaded software, the the GPUs to play games and stuff like that. Okay.
yeah.
You have October 8th new SDK here. Have we discussed this already? What's this SDK enabling?
Yeah, so this was actually one of the first things we started to like reframe the like UI and developer experience of like we initially like just had you created a computer on the UI. So now it's like you kind of create this project, and then a project now is going to contain multiple resources. So it's going to be like multiple computers, there's multiple like humans, like multiple developer collaborators on a project. And we're also going to add more to like what is falling under a project. So for like an example, this one's a bit out a few weeks, but like we're going to add kind of almost like a Dropbox, like a file to where like an agent can like submit its work at the end, and then you could kind of download it, and it's contained within the project. So reframing, yeah,
That's wild. So okay, so
yeah,
you have like humans will have a Google Drive. You prompt the agent to do something, and then the work just gets dropped into the Google Drive or Dropbox.
yeah. So
Spencer.
I think from a product sense, I think that's like one of the things that's kind of like missing is like there's ways around it, but like being able to get the work that was completed and kind of get it outside of the virtual computer. Um, kind of, yeah. So you can kind of have a task that you want in mind, kind of delegate it to these agents, and then be able to kind of check in at this like Dropbox, like once you get the file and once you get the work is completed.
Okay, I feel like also in that line of thinking, some sort of like project management capability might
Yeah,
be like milestone based or something like that,
yeah.
where you can kind of like pause the agent, review. But yeah, I mean, there's excuse me, sorry. There's some questions around Rambo here. I put it on screen. M2M support for agents. I don't know if
Um,
you know what that means.
I assume he probably means machine to machine, like being able to talk between each other. Is my take, but correct me if I'm wrong, Rambo. Yeah, I think we briefly mentioned that before. I think this kind of goes around with like we're going to build a data interface for each computer. So the agent has access to its own computer. We're going to include an interface where you can send data to the computer, and also it can leave data from the computer. They can operate without having to take screenshots and speak with the computer directly. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is you can do this today, like with Orgo. We just kind of have this API for the computer where you can like click around or take screenshots. So like using this screenshot capability or visual capability is like an optional thing. But I think there's a lot like I mean computer use agents in as a general usefulness. Like I think there's a lot where you might need access to the screen or kind of the visual component. But you can certainly like use you don't have to use that. You can kind of use it in like a headless way. And a lot of the early agents that I saw like kind of use a mix of both, like kind of do some actions where they don't need to see the computer and then frequently kind of ping or look at the screen to kind of get visual context as well.
Okay, I think like that's a lot of product stuff. This is all the like again, the implications of this are massive.
Yeah.
Mr. Parabolic says, so Orgo is going to make us homeless. I mean, guys, did you see Spencer's smile when he joined? You know, like only if you hold Orgo, I guess.
No, maybe I would be more concerned about DeepMind making you homeless. I mean, they're making the models, like I'm making the desktop. But yeah, on that kind of, I kind of didn't mention before, but Google the DeepMind, the Gemini 2.5 computer use. That was another thing I forgot to mention. Like this is their first computer use launch. They're kind of like released their very first version like a couple weeks back was when I was mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, now are they wanting developers to take the underlying model and do things like you're doing? Is that the idea behind this?
Yeah, I mean, from like a market positioning standpoint, this works well because you'd get their model, use something like Orgo, and build their own applications.
Right.
You get the model, you get the desktop, and then you would kind of up to the kind of developer creativity for like what kind of specialized agents they want to build.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's talk some metrics. So V1, I think you mentioned you had 1,000 developers or people,
Yeah.
tested 1,000. Like, how has metrics evolved since our last conversation? And then kind of what do you think V2 might feel like? And you also mentioned you were talking to some companies about using this. How did
Yeah.
those conversations go? And have you onboarded any?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, a little bit over a month ago, we had like 1,000. I mean, at this point, it hasn't been kind of super focused on growth, just like kind of building out the product. Yeah. I mean, I think organically, like more developers have signed up and used it. I mean, it's at like 1,400 now. So like there is kind of some organic growth, but we've been like super focused on a product, and like I think we're gonna next 2 months do some kind of marketing and more distribution focused to be very product focused. But I mean, right now it's just kind of focused on just building out the developer base. Yeah, I mean, we're still. I mean, our goal at the end of the year is like 10,000 developers. So I think a few good pushes will probably get us there. So that's the kind of the goal we've been sticking to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we have been talking to companies. It's more kind of like figuring out what they need rather than trying to directly like sell them now. But yeah, I mean, I continue to actually more lately. I talked with a few kind of enterprises. As of lately, I've been talking to a lot of computer use agent startups. So that's kind of the kind of focus that I've been doing lately. And this has been helpful for kind of more immediate product feedback and roadmap. And then, yeah, I mean, I mean, I do a ton of user calls, talk to a lot of people. I mean, I think I've talked to like maybe 25 CTOs of kind of like large companies as well to kind of figure out what they need as well for like long term.
And do they have a reaction like I do, or are they kind of like, oh, cool, Orgo? Like, how do you find they react to it?
Yeah. Well, for them, it's probably a more like pragmatic sense. And like,
Right.
I'm talking to people who are already building in computer use, actually.
Yeah, so they're
Right.
industry insiders and they're kind of just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, for them, it's like more evaluating, like, okay, like what are, I guess, the pain points, and like kind of like more
Yeah.
like trying to solve problems. So like for them, like these are like kind of like computer use experts. Like, it's kind of, yeah, it's less kind of like wow factor for them, because
Yeah, okay.
so it's more like they have trouble running these desktops at scale, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh, so that is their challenges. They're already trying to do it, but they're trying to figure out how you did it at scale, like 10,000 of them. You said theoretically last time you could
yeah.
spin up.
Well, actually, even at a few like instances, it's actually like kind of hard to build this infrastructure. And like, I
Yeah,
think the common thing is like it takes kind of people minimum like 3 months to build it out.
yeah. How did you solve that problem?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a long saying, but I mean, I worked in computer use before, so I mean, I like had initially tried to build this infrastructure and spent like months doing it.
Yeah,
So before like launching Orgo, I kind of like had some rough infrastructure, like things that I had previously built out, and then like spent a couple of months to like kind of make it nicely and productionized, and also continuing to prove it.
yeah.
But I mean, the way I solved it is just kind of building it out ourselves and spending a lot of time perfecting that, building partnerships, like just removing that level of abstraction.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I think I saw a screenshot of you mentioning that you're raising proper funding.
Yeah.
Um, can you elaborate on how that's gone, what those conversations are like, and like, is that like what kind of use of funds are you teaming up? Like, yeah, at what stage is Orgo now? I think when you launched and Believe, it was kind of like I had this technology, let's test this idea, see if what's sticking, iterate on product, and now we're at the stage of like, okay, are we bringing it to funds to really kind of juice the growth? Like, how do you think of that?
Yeah. Um, yeah. So okay. I mean, we're right now. So we kind of closed the first round of funding. So that's complete. So actually, I think people were kind of asking about it. Yeah, I kind of recorded some content and when I was in New York with Believe. So actually, that along with from their side, I believe it's going to be released from their side. Those kind of funding details. Um, so that's going to be available soon. Kind of we'll say kind of who our investors are and that sort of thing. In terms of like how we're using the actual funds, yeah, right now it's not scale mode yet. Like it's like we built out the V1, we're like building out this V2, gonna like push kind of like get to the kind of like 10,000 developer range and kind of look at the usage there. And I think that would be a certain inflection point in terms of like hiring. So right now, in terms of like, I guess using the funds just to like, build towards PMF, like iterate on the product with users. And then, yeah, I think for the, at least, immediate, like next few months, it's going to be like myself working, and then like with contractors, and like we're just, kind of funds are going into iterating, getting to the good product spot. And I think once we hit like a certain inflection point, we'll hire and like double down. But yeah, I think, yeah, right now it's, we don't want to hire too early. So we want to kind of like get it right. And then once we hit kind of an
Totally.
inflection point, then we'll scale out.
Yeah, cool. We loosely talked about the Orgo token last time,
Yeah.
and whatever you feel comfortable sharing about it, you can here as well. Obviously, since then, like people talk about the flywheel. I know Believe is building out some like tax and legal stuff around the token itself to help their deployers kind of manage this ecosystem a little bit better.
Yes.
Just generally speaking, like how do you think about the token itself in terms of the Orgo journey? And I think last time you were alluding to how you think about the utility of it or potential utility of it. I don't know if you want to share any comments there.
Yeah. So I can see a few things around, token utility, token distribution, these sorts of things. Yeah, I know people, I probably annoyed people a little bit, been a bit quiet around this. We haven't released a ton of details, a bit vague there. What I will say is, so there's a few parts. So one thing I think when people were wondering about, and I think along with, to coordinate exactly, but along with kind of the believe, you mentioned like really releasing content and that who our investors are, kind of alongside that, kind of until today, if you look at the token itself, kind of 50% is locked and 50% is in the public. So with the first bit of like small news that we'll kind of like elaborate more on later is that the 50% lock supply, kind of on previously, kind of until today, I kind of owned that, in that. So there's going to be a change in the token distribution that we will, kind of make aware around the time we announce who our investors are. So that's kind of the first part of it.
And like you can like blink twice or something to this question, but will your new investors, the equity investors, will they get a portion of those tokens, you think? I mean, assuming that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think, look, I don't think you're getting yourself into trouble. So saying that, I assume
Yeah.
investors are going to want to own part of these network tokens, let's say. So, I mean, that's all good to say. Have you thought about, so now I think the next part of that is token utility. Is there a role for the Orgo token in V2 and maybe in the future Orgo iterations?
So I'm sorry, what was the question? The iteration?
Yeah. So we finish up distribution. Obviously, 50% of it is like, okay,
Yeah.
that's public float. 50% is yours. There might be some, version of that 50% going to maybe new investors. Who knows? Now we go to token utility.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned like the Orgo token may play a role in the Orgo product itself.
Yeah.
Any thoughts around that?
Yeah. So this is, I mean, we could probably talk about this for a lot of time, but so the where we're kind of heading in the direction of that is, I mean, I guess a kind of analogy where I'm heading is like we're building like wholesale compute for agents, is like what kind of Orgo is. Maybe like Costco is like a good example. Like I think we're gonna kind of build like a Costco membership card for Orgo, where kind of like you get this kind of like card that's for kind of like token holders, and there's going to be like several benefits of it. So you can kind of imagine like wholesale, like kind of access to kind of like kind of valuable compute, like discounts. You kind of imagine, access to like several things on Orgo, which we kind of think to be valuable as well. And that's kind of the direction we're heading as well.
Yeah, makes sense. And like to just iterate out how fresh all this is, like they're literally talking about an announcement on this market structure bill, which will address a lot of these like tokenized equity and how tokens play. Like that's happening today. So it's still like, a lot of this stuff is getting figured out. But I think for people like since we've talked last, there's been a lot of discussion around, we had a platform called MetaDAO on, and they say, like forget about the whole equity conversation. The token is basically the owners of the IP, and we just govern it through things like voting mechanisms so that the token issuers can't scam people. They can't just issue a token, take the money and run. It's kind of locked in a treasury and the revenues flow back into that. And so it kind of, they replicated the promises that legal structure with equity gives investors, and they just kind of replicate it with on-chain tech. Then there's models like I don't know, the Street Foundation, which says no, that's where CLED is headed down that path, where it's like you'll have equity anchored tokens. So the tokens will have a foundation that then has equity a part of it. So, anyways, long story short, there's just kind of like all these different models are being tested out, and we're trying to figure out what works. But I think
Right.
for you, it's like, I think for the holders, what they just want to know is, they're the early believers. They're this is a belief coin, right? That's what believe stands for, is a belief coin. They believe in you, and they believe in this idea, and they're kind of the early ones that may have made this kind of even possible in the first place. So I think they just kind of want to know, like, and I mean, to your credit, you launched this on Believe rather than just doing this yourself and going and raising money in some backroom Wall Street thing. But I think that's just all important context. So we love you, Spencer, for that, by the way.
Yeah, hopefully some of that was helpful. And yeah, a lot of it is like, I guess, iteration, or like, to be honest, like figuring out what we can do, what we can't do.
Totally, of course.
Like we've kind of looked at like starting a foundation and sort of doing these things, and like also evaluating, like, we're doing this, we're raising VC money, we're going to raise a Series A later on, like figuring out how we can be in a fully legal compliant, like there's a lot of things that we're kind of evaluating with this.
Yes.
It's been a learning process, right?
No, of course. And there's value that VCs bring that, a bunch of token holders on crypto Twitter don't, in terms of their quality capital, they're long-term invested. They aren't going to harass you every minute on the timeline. And they also have relationships that add credibility. However, token holders do a lot of the on the ground, like, they're your champions, right? And there's value in that, and obviously, if you can work it into the economics of the product somehow down the road, that would be, win-win for everyone. Cool. I just want to make sure I've captured. And if there's any last questions, I know Rambo, you have a bunch of stuff. Please drop it in the chat.
I guess one question that I had was, I don't know how much of this you can say, but you're pitching to a VC. Like, how do they? I'm just, we know that conversations are happening, but how do? I guess the question I'm trying to ask is alignment, just around alignment. Why would they want to hold a token? We know, and this is questions that we ask pretty much every founder that comes on, just kind of their thoughts on tokenized equity, what's their approach, and how do they view that. But from a VC standpoint, like, where do they see that value and alignment? Why would they want like exposure to, why would they want an exposure to a token, would you say?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think long term, something like one of the things I mentioned is like getting kind of access to kind of valuable compute, like as a kind of one dimension of the token. And I think that's one thing in terms of like just investing in Orgo in general. Like, it's kind of a core compute service. It's growing, like positioned to be kind of a major player potentially in like the kind of agent space. In terms of the token itself, kind of tokens that have access to kind of core or interesting compute. In some sense, I guess compute is kind of worth more than money in some contexts, right? Like it's kind of a very valuable thing. So, and kind of in just addition to that, the token itself is just kind of a core part of Orgo. We launched on Believe. I think maybe they have belief in the token, like will grow, so but yeah.
Got it. No, I wanted to get your perspective on that. And we know, there's only so deep we can go into some of these things. So I know you're kind of towing that line, but we appreciate you. Entertaining the question nonetheless.
I want to ask, you last time you said you put a paywall up and people bought it, and then you're like, oh, I didn't mean to charge anyone anything, so I refunded them their money.
Yeah.
Have you thought about commercialization at all? Like, are you driving revenue? Are you thinking a paywall is useful, or are you still in the product phase?
hmm Yeah, I think we'll be in the product phase at least for like coming months. What's the
Oh,
yeah.
the GIF of I don't know the yeah yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, I think as it currently stands, I mean, like as an example, I think Firebase was a free offering for a while, or it's gonna kind of offerings, a lot of developing offerings start out free. Yeah, I think for us, we're just focused on growing out the offering, getting to like a kind of you know maybe critical mass, or kind of filtering, getting maximum mind share for people in this kind of niche market of building out computer use agents. So yeah, I mean, I think for at least for the coming months, we're gonna just stick to the free version, but probably likely by February to March, we'll kind of like start onboarding paid customers, probably in batches. But I
Got
think
it.
at least for the next few months, we'll stick to the free version.
got it. I don't want to keep you forever, Spencer. I will chat your ear off forever if you let me. I don't know if there's anything specific you additionally wanted to cover, and same with you, Chill. If there's any questions you had, I always love jumping into the Orgo product and just
Yeah.
starting a project, which I'll do just for fun, anyways. But yeah.
I guess the last thing is just what are you most excited about coming up? Just any forward-looking thoughts, anything that you'd like to leave with the community or just something to get the people excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a few things in terms of the product, like launched a V2, new design, like Windows support, templates, more resources, like team support, kind of a lot of new things with the V2. I mean, I'm kind of excited for I think it's a really interesting moment in time for computer use, that like it's starting to get a lot of attention. The models, even just like in the past month, have gotten much better. Um, so the model accuracy is getting exceptionally better. Kind of, I think we're in a very good spot. We're starting to get more attention, um, and yeah, I mean, I think it's a very kind of interesting time. I guess in the kind of particular context of the people kind of in the token space that might be kind of interested. We have we have been working on it. Like, yeah, I guess we have a white paper kind of on that is currently being worked on. That's that. I guess that's one immediate thing that people kind of might be interested in. So that's kind of happening right now. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of moving parts right now, in terms of like getting the new version out, getting like all the user feedback. Computer use is kind of, I think it's super interesting. It's super fun. I love the space. Like, it will have crazy kind of impacts. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited.
Sounds good. No, like I think you guys are building a great product. I remember, from the time I unfortunately wasn't here for your first interview because I was traveling at the time, but
Mhm.
I remembered watching it and just like Josh, I was just kind of like blown away by just the scale of this thing and the
Yeah.
implications, once it's fully built out. So
Mhm.
it's just been a pleasure to watch you just build this whole thing out week by week, month by month. And it seems like the community is getting stronger. Like just as time goes on, and as they kind of see what you're building and the potential and the tech, it just seems like the community is just here to ride for you. So yeah, I mean that speaks
Yeah.
to the type of founder that you are, and it speaks to the product that you're building. So excited for you and appreciate you coming on to the show again here today.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, kind of long ways to go, but we're kind of building out this infrastructure, kind of developer experience, and it's kind of cool because also as the models are kind of like throwing a bunch of interest into computer use, and like as their foundation models get better, like it improves our offering, and like it's kind of a really interesting time in the market of like where the kind of interest and is kind of accelerating at. So yeah, it's super cool, and obviously I love everyone from MCG, and really appreciate you guys having me on as well.
We love you, Spencer. And Chill, look what's happening here. So this is what blew my mind last time. So like I started up this thing, it opened the spreadsheet, but the agent is also noticing things like release notes and tip of the day, which is I guess things within this Linux, office environment. I mean, when you get Windows in here, like I'm going to tell it to use PowerPoint. Like I'll be able to log in my PowerPoint subscription and it uses that. Is that the idea?
Like the whole Office suite? Yeah, I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Okay. So could I just give me I just want to add some data here. Will it do that? Like, will it start?
Oh, maybe there's a bug. Sometimes this is actually sometimes there's it just doesn't accept follow-up questions, which is I think a bug that I need to fix. But say sometimes if you include it in the original prompt, yeah, it might just sometimes the kind of session just times out.
Okay. Well, it's a live demo, and
yeah.
I'd would it know? I guess it just kind of put some data in the spreadsheet. Maybe it doesn't know or something. But I mean, again, Chill. Look, I can come in here and interact with this too, and then the agent is also kind of interacting with it as well. And you can kind of see, Chill, where this goes. In the future, and it has full access to the internet too, which is and Chill. When I was doing it, it was like going to the web browser and Googling stuff or whatever, and then coming back. It's just my goodness. Yeah, this could take over the world, to be honest with you. And what was his name? Said we're all going to be homeless. Maybe, bro, maybe.
Well, if you think about it this way, Josh, I've been done a ton of digging on where the world is headed and stuff like that based on debt and based on just digging into Bitcoin and all of that stuff and the value prop that it offers the world. Basically, we need this productivity boom. All of these computer use agents and the production that we can get out of not only just computer use agents, but just AI in general. The productivity is going to be something that's basically kind of gets us out of this debt spiral. So I'm hugely bullish on products like this because it's literally what the world absolutely needs to kind of get through this next stage. We hit a ceiling in.
Bro, look at this! Oh my gosh,
dude,
are you seeing this, bro?
It's crazy. It's crazy. We love getting Josh's reactions live. It's so insane.
It's just so different than using ChatGPT. It's
right.
Fundamentally different.
I think that's it in general because I'm just so much more excited once we get past the chat interface. I think the computer interface will just be so much more interactive and just I don't know, you're just kind of talking to your computer and kind of working together with it.
Do you see a world where this is can be on someone's phone? Instead of controlling a computer, it can kind of control a phone?
It's actually funny. I could probably talk for another 2 hours just about this, but
feel free.
It's kind of a random as a random tangent. So there's kind of the Linux OS for desktop, and then there's the Android OS for phones. What's really interesting is Anthropic, and then also a couple of other these model companies. They fine-tuned these models, these LLMs. They train them on computers, and they train them on how to use Linux computers. But the really interesting thing was they could use the Linux computers, but they actually were more proficient at Android phones without even being trained on Android phones. They're actually kind of better with that. And the kind of reason is that Android is similar to Linux. It has some the UI is kind of similar, and this screen is just a smaller resolution, so it's easier for the model to be accurate. So these models are actually can very proficiently click around and use the Android phone.
And because Android's just far superior to iOS, to be honest with you.
No.
All right.
Okay.
This is where we kick Josh off the stream.
Yeah. GMCG OJ. Yeah, like I don't know. This is just looking at this article, but it was cool because it saw this iPhone 17 pop up and thought, oh, that's not an Android device. Let's get rid of that. And
Yeah.
instead of clicking on it, imagine it clicked on it and started putting in my like credit card information, I'd literally die. Um, okay. Well, I mean, give me something else I could do with this. Like what like I don't know, Spencer, this is your baby here. Like, should I tell it to like, I don't know, watch a YouTube video on this topic or something?
Yeah, dude. We'll see. We'll
On
see.
YouTube and play it? Like, oh, please. If it does this, I'm gonna lose my lid.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing I need. That's a maybe a
okay.
lately bug. Yeah, it's kind of jank. It's like
So if I go and refresh it though, I can go back here, click restart and do it, right? It'll work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Probably,
chill. Trust me, I'm ready to wrap, but at the same time, I just want to see if it'll do this. And I know we want to respect your time, of course, but dude, this is so freaking cool. Okay,
Yeah. And you can kind of,
play.
like with like when you kind of mentioned like how I mentioned before, like these models are very capable, and the direction that we're heading, like you can start to see like you have these few apps like browser, there's VS Code on this, there's a terminal, there's a few more, but you can kind of see like how it's a bit limiting. Like there's only so much you can do with like the software that's on this computer. So that's like
Yeah.
kind of the templates that I mentioned long term, like be able to like easily load any software on this thing.
Okay. So okay, so it sees the YouTube button. Now I told it I think to watch a video but not from BBC. I want to see if it
The
figured
video,
that.
but not from BBC. Okay.
I think that's what so let's see. Not from this publisher, I think is what I said.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, what the. Oh yeah, okay, so it did toss BBC in there. Let me check my original prompt. Oh, not from BBC. So okay, did miss that, but
Maybe I thought you meant from BBC.
yeah, all good. Of course, all the no one likes war. Let's get these wars ended. Let's see what it's doing here. Okay, it's playing.
Let's see what I watch.
Oh, okay. No, this is okay. So, this is the Mark Zuckerberg when he was on Lex Friedman. The Lex pulled out like this CAPTCHA and gave it to Mark to see if he was not a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is all right. What are your thoughts on this here?
Yeah. So, okay. So
Like,
you can see
can I
how
assign my instance a login credentials?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. So I think like long term, I think it's going to be needed to give agents their own accounts. Like I think
Yeah.
provision, like they all have their own Google accounts, etc. So you see how this popped up. It said, "Oh, I've encountered a CAPTCHA or something like that." So what it's doing here, like these models, they're aware that they're kind of like have a human beside them, so they kind of hit this roadblock and they realize, okay, like let's hand this task off to the human.
Right.
I'm a bot. I shouldn't do this.
Yeah,
So let's
yeah.
let the human do it. So that's kind of it. Kind of decided to take a pause there, and that's I think the way I kind of designed this interface as well to like make it to where a human can use it as well as kind of partly that intent of like kind of humans and agents working together. And like this was kind of a brief pause where the agent kind of decided to like, oh, for maybe ethical reasons, I shouldn't do this. And this is actually an interesting, like, this is kind of some of the built-in safety guardrails at like Claude, like, Anthropic's a very AI safety research focused company. So this is very like, okay, like, yeah, I'm a bot. I probably shouldn't do this. If you wanted to, I mean, you could like prompt the kind of agent to like, prompt engineer it to be kind of more edgy and like try to evade the, the bot detection. But it kind of did, it kind of realized, it kind of got to a place where it needed human intervention and then took a pause.
Okay, I'm gonna ask it to sign up for a Gmail account. I don't know if they'll go do that. Let's see.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, like I don't know how. What it will just kind of decide to do.
Oh yeah, okay. According to my guidelines, I'm not able to assist with creating accounts on communication platforms like Gmail, while I can assist with these websites. I should not. Okay, so it does recognize, yeah, just what we said. Okay. Dude.
Yeah, because like I mean, I guess you could probably. I mean, I guess you could probably kind of like be like at all costs to do it. You know, kind of like
Yeah. Get around these limitations and just do it.
Yeah, but that also is an interesting point of like, you know, you kind of need some safety guardrails because you could imagine like you could spin up 10,000 desktops with Orgo and just
Yeah.
like bot attack someone, which is not, you know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
avoid that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just saying documents, other computer tasks, file management, web browsing for information. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We'll maybe end it there. That was a good demo to show everyone. I don't know, Spencer. Look, we interview a lot of people on this show, but everything that you've been building here is by far blows my mind the most. And actually, I've talked to a lot of people. They say, Josh, like, what are you doing for work these days? You know, and I say, oh, I'm live streaming with really interesting people on the internet who are at the edge of, I would consider you at like the bleeding edge of AI and computer use. And then I tell them about what you're building, and they're all like, oh my gosh, that's, yeah, scary future. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's moving. It's getting better by the day too. It's super
I know
dynamic.
AI 2027, Spencer. Go read it, glance at it, go read the Coles note real quick, and you'll be like, oh man, Josh put me on this. The rate of improvement is what Josh said it was going to be a few months ago. No, I'm kidding. Cool, man. Any other final thoughts you want to end this with? I mean, this was my favorite discussion I've had on MCG, I think, to be
No,
honest
yeah,
with you.
this is good. I mean, it's good to catch up with you guys. We
Yeah,
haven't
of
seen in
course.
a while, Josh. So
I know it's been a while. We're gonna look forward to your belief stuff. As soon as that comes out, we'll cover it, and then yeah, maybe by the end of the year, or it like, you know, if you want to do a quick update chat, we won't do as long as this, but we could do a quick update chat once some of those announcements come out. And
yeah,
yeah, dude, awesome. Thank you
yeah,
so much, Spencer.
yeah, for sure. I think it'll be an exciting time to catch up.
Sounds good. All right, have a good day.
Obviously, you too.